Welcome back to Total Football. Before the break, we interrupted Ruben Amorim to hear live from the new Celtic manager, Wilfried Nancy. Manchester United taking on Wolves in the Monday Night Football. Let's get back to the United boss now.
Do you think that could be the opportunity for Kobbie?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's the same question. I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen. It depends. I see in the training. I see is the best thing for the team. I will put it. That is the only way I know how to respond to that.
Hi, Ruben. Obviously, Wolves provided some low moments for you at Man Utd last season. That felt one of the darker moments. How important is it not to take the fact that they've not won a game this season for granted because you just played 18th?
Okay, everything can happen, and that will change. There is no team in the Premier League history that didn't won one game, so it can be any game. So we need to try to improve, to rest the players, work really well, and prepare a tough match, because with us it's always a tough match.
Well, a similar sort of narrative, a couple of places further down the league for Manchester United, who tease and tempt, and who twice in the last fortnight have had a chance to go into the top 5 and haven't. And sort of the prevailing mood here, I sense, is one of anticlimax tonight.
Yeah, if you saw those, obviously when we threw back to the studio and the camera stays in the stadium and they're picking up the faces of fans that are still sat in the actual sort of seats, real dejection. Real dejection. I feel so disappointed. Against Everton, I think everyone leaves that and they might think, well, okay, we've been on a decent run. You can have a one-off game and that can happen. But speaking to Ruben Amorim before the game tonight, and I said about this opportunity to go up the league and jump up the league and get into 5th and level on 4th, and thinking about what could this season start to look like. And they've missed 2 glaring opportunities. I mean, they could be 2nd or 3rd, having won these 2 games. But there's far too many ifs and buts and maybe and could-haves and would-haves with this team. And Ruben Amorim absolutely will be, he'll be angry, frustrated and gutted, because, and we saw obviously the executives, saw Jason Wilcox, sporting director, and Omar Barada, they'll be absolutely gutted, because I've said this before, you see a team that do it once and that can happen, but when you see it happen twice, it starts to become a pattern of what you are. And this was a massive opportunity. You saw the games that are lined up. Everton, Crystal Palace, they won the most difficult game at Crystal Palace. West Ham at home, Wolves on Monday. And you're thinking, 10 points. That could put Manchester United into a serious position in the league. They could be up there in 3rd. And really then sort of starting to think about the programme they've got when everybody kicks into European football and the cup competition's kicking again into sort of February, March. But unfortunately, they're not taking their chances to get up there and be up there. And I don't get it. I don't get the lack of urgency and the lack of intensity. I don't get the slow play. I don't get the lack of sort of risk in the game. I don't get it. Ruben Amorim can't be telling them to go out there. In fact, I know he's not, because in his interview with me pre-match that me and Peen did, he said, I want more intensity from the very beginning. Now, I suspect, unless he's having us over, he's not going back into the change room saying, guys, play slowly tonight. He's going in there and saying, lads, let's get the ball moving around quickly. Let's run forward. Let's play with real threat and vigour. And it doesn't transpire out on the pitch, so I don't know.
Why does that happen?
Peter, I've got no understanding. We lost games here. And we drew games here. And we drew big games here. And we drew sort of what would be lesser games here. But I don't think we drew games in that way. I don't think we lost games in that way.
Future at Manchester United for the rest of the season. That is the view of sources close to the club, who insist he is very much on track to meet the goals he was set at the start of the campaign. Amorim had a difficult start to this term, as his future was cast into doubt. A Carabao Cup defeat to Grimsby Town was a particular low point, but Manchester United have restabilized and started to form an identity. In the Premier League, they are currently 3 points behind both Chelsea and Aston Villa, who occupy Champions League places in the top 4. Amorim's remit for the season is compete for a European-placed finish, and he's expected to remain in touch with those positions heading into the decisive stages of the season. With the league looking so open, and United finding form that looks trustworthy, sources believe Amorim is very likely to stay in charge for the rest of the season and then be given further opportunity to be the man that leads them long-term. Improvements in style of play and results have been matched by an obvious focus on being better prepared to score set-piece goals, too.